Chapter 1. First Gush. The good, the bad, the gush. What's the difference? It's all one big gray blur in the gutters. I gotta be the executioner of these streets. There's no justice, just crime, corruption, everybody turning a blind eye. I ain't no hero. The next blind eye I see, I'm gonna rip it out. I remember the moment it happened, that the rush of the gush took over. The first hit of it, the sweet embrace, the clarity. It was in front of a froyo shop. There's junkies shooting up dope, children watching, nobody even caring, nobody even calling it in, nobody there to stop it. I went blind with rage, and I mashed and bashed their faces into the pavement. My hands were swollen, like red balloons ready to fly off. And I looked up in the sky, cold wind, lashing the razor burns on my neck. And I knew I was free, that the gush was for me. I take a long, deep drag as the tobacco tickles my throat. And I grin as I gaze at the sun. It feels as if God is kissing my pupils. But I snap out of it as the children and parents run from the froyo screaming, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" Like you never played a video game before, sport. Arguably, what I did was more damaging and scarring than what the junkies did, but it had to be done. The gush chooses you. Somebody has to rise up. A real man. Rise up of the filth, the scum. You gotta let this happen in front of them. I'll show you. No more. I will be the executioner of the streets. The reaper of the gutters. The gush. Chapter 2. The Hush of the Gush. An inky sky twitches with the electricity as lightning licks the moon's face. She's crying for the gush. I ignore her cry as I suffocate my sorrows. One sip, one sin at a time. Another dark and stormy, I snarl. The waitress runs over with my drink. Time freezes. My heart smiles. She was a 6-foot tall, angelic being with long, flowing golden brown hair, bringing me a cup of heaven. I couldn't even bear to look up at her. I just mumbled thanks. My favorite watering hole, Dante's Inn. I only use the money I rip from the pockets of dead men to get my buzz. I grit my teeth as the people at the bar talk politics. They sound like ducks quacking. Quack, quack, quack. Red or blue, what's the difference? It's all one big gray blur in the gutters. The only difference between me and them, they hate half the government. I hate the whole damn thing. As the quacking gets louder, I dig my thumb further and further into the cut in my hand. Then I smash my fist upon the bar top. The entire place comes to a freeze. The waitress gasps. I guess I overstayed my welcome. Ha ha ha. I grab my coat, shuffle over to the jukebox, and then press A11. Poor boy, Nick Drake. I leave a trail of blood from the jukebox to the door. I guess it's time for me to leave. As I leave the bar, I see a Kia boy trying to break into the waitress's Hyundai. Not on my watch. I pull out my blade. The jury is in, and I take each one of his fingers. Try hot wiring with those. Well, I guess the mayor will have to wait. He's a wasp. Pretend to be an Italian. We'll call me the bug swatter. He's next on my list. But for tonight, the sounds of the sniveling of the Kia boy will lull me to sleep. The hush of the gush. Chapter 3. Final Gush. The mare lays fragmented below my feet. Why? He asked with a wheeze. I'll let my bunch of fives do the talking for me. Ah, my favorite sound, incoherent gurgles. The mayor says with a gurgle. Why is a good question. Let me tell you why. My father was an unrelenting man, an obsessive man. And one fine day, my cousin wanted a bowl of beefaroni. I warned him not to. My father was very particular. My cousin neglected my demands, and he went on ahead and made it anyway. Made a mess of the microwave, too. And when my father found it, he went nuts. I couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha ha. I still have this nervous laugh to this day. Well, when he heard that laugh, he went berserk. Took the hot bowl and smeared it all over my scalp and eyes and face. It burned. Completely demasculated. I went to the shower crying. And I remember washing the beefaroni off my face. The hate that grew inside was a permanent one. It was the first seed of the gush. The mare is no longer breathing. The sirens are calling me. The flashing of the red, white, and blue hit my face. It's all one big gray blur. What's the difference? She was a 6-foot-tall angelic being. She was beautiful. She carries me to heaven. Silvery blue eyes. I couldn't even bear to look up at her. Chapter 4, which actually takes place between Chapter 2 and 3, because clearly I die at the end of Chapter 3. The Lost Gush. Chapter 4. You need to catch a second wind to carry thou home. Hungry and bare, rely on gust of air to carry you where you may find food and drink. Have a think.
Delirious and disheveled, I found the establishment, Dante's Inn. Clutching my red suitcase, I enter. I order a ribeye with mushroom sherry sauce. And their oldest red wine. The tall waitress was fairly attractive. She seemed tired. A fat, disgusting, filthy man barges in like a cannonball, wearing a green mask. He snarls at the waitress. I'll have the usual, while he stares at the floor. Despicable. He walks over to the jukebox and plays some sort of old folk song. I'm a poor boy, wah, wah, wah. You never knew where I came from. It makes me sick. The lyrics, the spite of him, his own sorrow makes me want to slash his throat. Fool, you're talking to yourself in public again. I warned you what would happen, and you're sweating profusely. You must hide in plain sight. And why are you clutching that fucking suitcase? I look over at the disgusting fat green man, and he's staring right at me, one pulsating eye peeking out of his mask. It's like he's seeing through my soul. Hey, what are you hiding in that suitcase? Says the Gush. Huh? What? Well, I flip over the table and run out there as fast as I can. Run, run. His pain and suffering outweighs even your own. You will stand no match to his strength. I told you to shut your mouth. I'm running through this alleyways, but it's downhill, and he's getting more momentum. He catches up to me. He beats me down. Please, sir, do not open my suitcase, I beg of you.
I open up the red suitcase, and the things I see, I can't even describe. With who, I can't even describe, but it makes me sick.
You must understand, they must pass through the fire.
Before he can say another word, I smash the suitcase so far down his throat, all of his teeth smash over to the back of his brain, and then his leg starts twitching out like a puppet. I laugh. But the things I saw in that suitcase, I saw the mayor. Photographs with his mocking mouth making a big grin. I leave the photographs in the pool of blood where the strange man's head used to be. Well, I guess I know who I'm looking into tonight. I gotta hit Dante's Inn. I need to do some research, and by research I mean get drunk. As I drink at the bar, I see a man watching me from the corner. He looks like a cop. Well, where I'm going, I ain't coming back. This crazy train's last stop, right around the bend. Let 'em watch.
Five, 6, 7, 8, 9,